The lawyer's voice cracked like thunder in the stale air of the office, slicing through the twins' stunned silence. To Ethan Hayes, I bequeath the entirety of my estate, the brownstone in Brooklyn, the savings, the investments, everything. Riley's heart slammed against his ribs as Ethan's lips curled into a smile sharp enough to draw blood. But it was the next words that shattered him. And to Riley Hayes, a single letter, to be opened alone. In that instant, as the rain hammered the windows like fists of judgment, Riley knew his father's final act wasn't mercy. It was a grenade, primed to explode the lies they'd all buried alive. Ethan leaned back in the leather chair, his fingers drumming the armrest with the casual rhythm of victory. At 28, he was the blueprint of their father's dreams. Broad-shouldered from weekend hikes in the Adirondacks, his dark hair cropped military short, his life a straight line from Yale undergrad to a junior partnership at a midtown firm. He'd always been the golden boy, the one who brought home straight A's and straight girlfriends, the son who made Harlan Hayes beam with pride at every backyard barbecue in their childhood home outside Buffalo. Riley, on the other hand, had been the shadow, the one who sketched in the margins of textbooks, who came out at 16 in a house that suddenly felt too small, who fled to the village after college for a life of barista shifts and half-finished graphic novels about boys who loved boys in worlds that didn't flinch. Their father had never said the words, "I'm proud." Not to Riley, not after the coming-out letter that sat unanswered in a drawer for years. Now, with Harlan gone, cancer, quick and cruel, 6 months from diagnosis to the grave, Ethan got the kingdom and Riley got scraps. The lawyer, Mr. Kensington, a wiry man in his 60s with glasses perched like a bird on his nose, slid the envelope across the table. It was thick, cream-colored, sealed with red wax that bore their father's initials. H.H. Riley's hands trembled as he took it, the paper cool and heavy, like holding a heartbeat. Ethan cleared his throat, his voice smooth as bourbon. "Look, it's not personal. Dad always said you were the dreamer. Money's for builders." The words landed like slaps, each one echoing the old refrains. "You're too soft for this world. You'll figure it out." But Riley saw the flicker in his brother's eyes. Not regret, but calculation. Ethan had been at the hospital every day, holding Dad's hand, whispering about the firm, the future. Riley had visited too, but his stories of the gallery internship, the guy he'd been seeing, had earned only tight smiles and changed subjects. "I need air," Riley muttered, bolting for the door before the tears could spill. The elevator ride down was a blur of fluorescent lights and the scent of rain-soaked wool from other tenants. Outside, West 57th Street assaulted him with honking taxis and umbrellas like black mushrooms. He ducked into a coffee shop across the way, the kind with mismatched mugs and indie folk crooning from hidden speakers. Sinking into a corner booth, he tore open the envelope with his thumbnail, the wax crumbling like old promises. The letter unfolded in Harlan's meticulous script, the ink slightly faded, as if written in haste. "My dear Riley," it began, and already Riley's throat tightened. "If you're reading this, I've failed you in life, but I pray these words redeem me in death." The coffee shop faded as Riley read on, the words pulling him under like a riptide. Harlan confessed it all. The hidden years, the love he'd buried deeper than any grave. Their father, the stoic engineer who'd built bridges across the Hudson, had loved a man once, a violinist named Elias, met in the smoky jazz clubs of 1970s Greenwich Village. It was a love fierce and forbidden, shattered by Harlan's fear of scandal, of losing the job, the family name, the American dream his own father had beaten into him with Bible verses and belt buckles. Elias had vanished after a final, heartbroken letter, and Harlan had married their mother, built the life of straight lines and white picket fences. But the guilt had festered, a shadow in every hug, every sidelong glance at Riley's pride flag freshman year. Riley's breath hitched. There was more, a plea. "Find him, son. Elias Morrow. Last I heard, he was teaching strings at a small conservatory in Portland, Oregon. Tell him I never stopped." Tucked inside was a faded photograph. Two young men, early 20s, arms slung around each other on a fire escape overlooking the city, grins wide and unscarred by secrets. Harlan, with the same hazel eyes as his son's, and Elias, lithe and laughing, his dark curls wild in the wind. Riley traced the edges, his chest aching with a grief that wasn't just his own. This wasn't rejection. It was a bridge, thrown across the chasm their father had died crossing alone. But as the revelation sank in, so did the fury. Why now? Why give Ethan the fortune and Riley this ghost hunt? He slammed the letter down, drawing stares from a barista with neon blue hair. His phone buzzed. Ethan. Texting. "Dinner tonight? Celebrate. My treat. Celebrate." The word tasted like ash. Riley typed back. "Can't. Out of town." He didn't wait for the reply. Grabbing his bag, he stepped back into the downpour, hailing a cab to Penn Station with one thought burning. Portland. He had to see if Elias was real, if the love their father regretted could heal the one Riley had lost, in pieces over too many bad dates and worse breakups. The train to Portland was a 12-hour blur of Amtrak's rocking rhythm and Riley's racing mind. He booked the ticket on impulse, using his last credit card buffer, the one he'd saved for a weekend in Provincetown with Jamie, the architect who'd ghosted him after 3 months of whispered promises and cold mornings alone. Jamie had been his latest heartbreak, the kind that made Riley question if love was just a prettier word for loneliness. But now, with the letter folded in his jacket pocket like a talisman, doubt cracked open to possibility. What if Elias had answers? What if this was the key to understanding why Dad had looked at him with eyes full of unspoken storms? Portland greeted him with mist-shrouded evergreens and the scent of damp earth, a far cry from New York's concrete pulse. He checked into a budget motel on the outskirts, the kind with thin walls and a neon sign flickering vacancy like a bad omen. That first night, sleep evaded him. He lay staring at the water-stained ceiling, replaying the will reading in his head. Ethan's smugness, the lawyer's dry cough, the way the envelope had felt like a bomb. By morning, resolve hardened. He Googled Elias Moreau Violin Portland on his phone, heart leaping at the hit. Professor Emeritus, Portland Community Conservatory. A grainy faculty photo showed a man in his 70s, silver hair swept back, eyes crinkled with the warmth of someone who'd outlived regrets, or carried them gracefully. The conservatory was a brick beauty tucked in the Pearl District, its halls echoing with scales and sonatas. Riley arrived unannounced, palms slick, rehearsing lines in the mirror of the cab. "I'm Riley Hayes. Harlan sent me." The receptionist, a young woman with a septum piercing, directed him to the practice rooms. He found Elias in a sunlit studio, bow gliding over strings in a melancholy Bach partita that twisted Riley's gut. The man was smaller than the photo suggested, his frame wiry under a wool sweater, but those eyes, dark and depthless, held the same fire. "Professor Moreau?" Riley's voice came out smaller than intended. Elias lowered the violin, peering over half-moons. "Yes? Can I help you?" Riley thrust the letter forward, words tumbling. "My name's Riley. Harlan Hayes was my father. He died. He left me this." The air thickened as Elias took the envelope, his fingers, knotted from decades of strings, unfolding it with deliberate care. Silence stretched, broken only by the distant trill of a flute. Then Elias's face crumpled, not in sorrow, but in a raw, unguarded release. He sank onto a piano bench, the letter trembling in his lap. "Oh, Harlan," he whispered, voice like aged velvet. "You stubborn fool." Tears traced paths down his cheeks, and Riley, unbidden, dropped to one knee beside him, hand hovering before settling on the man's shoulder. It was the first touch of truth in days, warm and anchoring. They talked for hours, the partita forgotten on its stand. Elias poured out the past. The whirlwind 72 summer, jazz-fueled nights in lofts where love wasn't a sin but a symphony. Harlan, fresh from engineering school, wild-eyed and whispering sonnets between kisses. The crash came swift, Harlan's father's heart attack, the family ultimatum, the job offer in Buffalo that chained him to convention. Elias had begged him to stay, but Harlan chose safety, leaving a note that read like a suicide. "Forgive me. Build without me." For years, Elias waited, then grieved, then built his own life. Teaching, composing, loving quietly with a partner lost to AIDS in the 90s. "He never called," Elias said, folding the photo back into the letter. "But I never stopped hoping." Riley listened, the pieces of his own heart slotting into place. His father's silences, the way he'd gripped the wheel too tight on drives to the city, eyes flicking to couples hand in hand. "He loved you," Riley said fiercely. "He regretted it all. That's why he sent me." Elias's smile was bittersweet, a lantern in fog. "And you, Riley? What do you carry from him?" The question hung, pulling Riley's secrets to the surface. He spoke of Ethan, the will, the ache of being the other son, of Jamie's abandonment, the parade of flings that left him hollow. Elias nodded, wise and weathered. "Love isn't inheritance, boy. It's the risk. Harlan taught me that, the hard way." As dusk painted the windows gold, Elias invited him to stay for dinner. A simple affair at his craftsman bungalow in southeast Portland, shelves groaning with sheet music and dog-eared Proust. Over salmon and stories, Riley felt the first stir of something dangerous. Not just closure, but connection. Elias's laugh was a melody, his glances lingering with a paternal warmth laced with curiosity. Was it grief shared, or more? Riley pushed the thought down, but it bloomed anyway, a forbidden flower in the garden of his father's ghost. Back in the motel, Phone silent from Ethan's unanswered texts. Riley dreamed of fire escapes and violins, waking with a resolve sharper than before. He texted Ethan a photo of the letter. "This is what I got. Turns out, Dad had secrets bigger than money." The reply came swift. "What the hell? Call me. Now." Riley ignored it, booking a return ticket for tomorrow. But as he packed, a knock echoed. Elias, violin case in hand. "One more night," the man said, eyes twinkling. "Let me play for you." For him. They walked the misty streets to a nearby park, where Elias drew the bow under street lamps, an impromptu requiem that wove loss and longing into every note. Riley sat on a bench, tears silent, realizing this letter hadn't just changed everything. It had rewritten him. For the first time, he wasn't the twin left behind. He was the bridge. The melody lingered in Riley's ears like a half-remembered promise, as he and Elias strolled back through Portland's fog-draped alleys. The city a watercolor of hipster bistros and muraled walls. Elias's bungalow waited like a sentinel, its porch light a beacon against the encroaching night. "Come in," Elias urged, his voice soft but insistent. "One glass of wine." To Harlan. Riley hesitated, the weight of the day pressing on his shoulders, but the man's eyes, those eyes that had held his father's heart, pulled him across the threshold. Inside, the house breathed history. Faded Persian rugs underfoot, walls lined with black and white photos of concert halls and long-ago lovers. Elias poured 2 glasses of Pinot Noir from a dusty bottle, the liquid blood red in the lamplight. They settled in the living room, Riley on the worn velvet sofa, Elias in an armchair that sagged like an old friend. "Tell me about your brother," Elias prompted, swirling his glass. "Ethan, the one who got the empire." Riley's laugh was bitter, spilling out before he could cage it. "Empire. Yeah, that's Dad's word for it. Ethan's always been the heir apparent, married to his work, dating women who look like Mom, blonde, ambitious, safe. He called last night, left voicemails like bullets. What is this crap about a letter? Dad wouldn't. But he would. He did." He sipped the wine, its tartness mirroring the twist in his gut. Ethan had always been the protector, the one who'd punched the high school bully who called Riley a fag. But protection came with strings, invisible nooses of expectation. "We were inseparable as kids, built forts in the woods, swore we'd conquer the world. Then I came out and, crack, the ice thinned." Elias leaned forward, the lines on his face mapping a lifetime of such fractures. "Harlan wrote me once after you were born. Twins. He said it was like God doubling the miracle and the terror. Feared he'd fail you both." He paused, gaze distant. "I envied him that family, even as it broke us. But regret's a thief, Riley. Steals the present if you let it." The words unlocked something in Riley, a floodgate. He spoke of the will reading, the sting of Ethan's triumph, the way the brownstone, their childhood home, with its creaky stairs and Dad's old recliner, now symbolized everything he'd been deemed unworthy of. "It's not the money," he admitted, voice cracking. "It's the message. I'm the mistake," he fixed with a footnote. Elias reached across, his hand covering Riley's, rough from strings, steady as an anchor. The touch sent a spark up Riley's arm, innocent yet electric, blurring the lines between mentor and muse. "No, lad, you're the echo he couldn't silence." They talked until the wine bottle emptied, stories weaving like threads. Elias's AIDS-era vigils, Riley's first pride march in a sea of rainbows that felt like armor. Laughter crept in, tentative, then full-throated, when Elias recounted Harlan's disastrous attempt at a love poem. "Roses are red, violets are fine, your eyes like the bridge I just designed. Midnight found them on the porch, stars pricking the overcast sky." Elias lit a pipe, the tobacco scent mingling with jasmine from a climbing vine. "You remind me of him, you know," he said softly. "That fire, but softer edges." Riley met his gaze, the air charged, and for a heartbeat, he wondered, what if? The thought terrified and thrilled, an echo of his father's forbidden flame. But Elias pulled back, clearing his throat. "Sleep here tonight. Guest room's yours. Train's not till noon." Riley agreed, the bed linens cool and lavender-scented. Sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with violins and twin shadows. Morning brought coffee and crepes, Elias humming as he flipped them in a cast-iron skillet. "Before you go," he said, sliding a small box across the table. "This was Harlan's. He sent it years ago after your mother passed. I never opened it till now." Inside lay a pocket watch, engraved with "Eternally yours, H," and a note, "If I can't say it, let time tell." Tears blurred Riley's vision as he pocketed it. The train station goodbye was a hug that lingered, Elias's whisper fierce. "Live without his ghosts, Riley. Make your own music." As the Amtrak pulled away, Portland shrinking to a green blur. Riley clutched the watch, its tick a metronome to his pulse. Ethan's texts piled up. We need to talk. This changes nothing. But it changed everything. Riley fired back. It changes us. Coming home. Prepare. New York swallowed him whole upon return. The subways roar a rude awakening. He cabbed to the brownstone in Brooklyn, the key under the mat a small mercy. Ethan was waiting in the living room, pacing like a caged wolf, a tumbler of scotch in hand. At 28, his brother looked older in the harsh afternoon light filtering through lace curtains. Crow's feet from boardroom battles, a wedding ring glinting on his finger, courtesy of Lauren, the litigator who'd proposed last spring. Jesus. Where the hell have you been? Ethan's voice boomed, but underneath lurked fear, raw and boyish. Riley dropped his bag, the letter and watch heavy in his pocket. Portland. Met Elias. The name hung like smoke, and Ethan's face drained of color. Dad's lover. The one he never got over. Turns out, our perfect family was built on a lie. Ethan sank onto the sofa, scotch forgotten. What are you talking about? Riley recounted it all. The confession, the photo, the music that had stitched their wounds. Ethan's jaw worked, denial flickering before cracking. He told me once, drunk after Mom's funeral. Said he had a what if in the city. I thought it was a fling. A phase. Shame colored his cheeks. I pushed him to change the will last month. Said you were unstable. The boyfriend who left your art phase. God, I was scared you'd blow it all. The admission landed like a gut punch, but Riley saw the boy beneath. The twin who'd shared bunk beds and secrets. Scared for me or of me? He asked, voice steady. Both. Ethan rubbed his face. The empire suddenly ash. This house, the money, it's tainted now. What if I give it up? Half to you. Riley shook his head. The watch's tick urging honesty. It's not about the cash. It's about seeing me. All of me. They sat in silence, the brownstone creaking around them like a confessional. Hours blurred into takeout pizza and old photo albums. Ethan flipping pages with trembling hands. Remember this? He said, pointing to a snapshot of them at 10. Arms linked on a Coney Island pier. We were unbreakable. Were, Riley echoed, but softly. Can be again. That night, as Ethan crashed in the guest room, Lauren out of town on depot, Riley wandered the halls, ghosts whispering. In Dad's study, he found a hidden drawer. More letters, Elias's handwriting pleading, Harlan's replies half-written, stained with tears. One caught his eye. Riley's like you, brave in ways I never was. Sobbing quietly, Riley pocketed it, vowing to mail the lot to Portland. Morning brought a fragile truce. Ethan brewed coffee, black and strong. I'm calling Kensington. We rewrite the will, equal shares. Riley nodded, but his mind drifted to Elias, the spark of that porch-lit gaze. On impulse, he texted, back in New York. Missed the music already. The reply pinged quick. Come back when you can. There's a duet waiting. Weeks unfolded in a rhythm of reconstruction. Ethan dove into estate details. His lawyer precision turned to fairness, selling off stocks to fund a trust for Riley's gallery dreams. Riley, meanwhile, sketched feverishly. Panels of fire escapes and violins. A graphic novel titled Echoes. But the pull westward grew. Jamie's ghost fading against Elias's melody. One evening, over beers on the stoop, Ethan confessed more. Dad pulled me aside before chemo. Said to watch out for you. He's got my heart. He joked. I get it now. Riley's phone buzzed. Elias. Summer recital next month. Dedication. To Bridges Rebuilt. Heart soaring. Riley booked a flight, hugging Ethan goodbye with a fierceness that bridged years. We're good, he asked. Better? Ethan grinned, clapping his back. Go build your world, I'll hold the fort. Portland's summer sun gilded the conservatory, students buzzing like bees. Elias spotted him in the audience, their eyes locking as the bow met strings. A new composition, haunting and hopeful, notes climbing like vines. Afterward, in the green room, Elias pulled him close, the hug deepening to something unspoken. You came, he murmured. Couldn't not. Riley's hand found Elias's, fingers interlacing. Age be damned. The spark was timeless, a second chance woven from first loves lost. As they walked into the sunset, violins fading behind, Riley felt the letter's promise fulfilled. Not in money, but in melody, in the gay twin who'd claimed his inheritance. A life unafraid. But the sunset walk stretched into twilight confessions, Elias's bungalow once more a sanctuary as crickets chorused in the garden. They sat on the porch swing, creaking gently, a bottle of mead, Elias's homemade, honey sweet, passed between them. Harlan hated sweets. Elias chuckled. The sound rich with memory. Said they made him soft. But oh, how he'd sneak my pralines. Riley leaned closer, the swing's sway mirroring his pulse. At 28, he was no stranger to desire's pull. But this felt ancient, rooted, like coming home to a house he'd never known. Elias's eyes, shadowed by silver brows, held questions. What now, Riley? You've bridged his past to mine. But yours. Riley set the bottle down, the watch chain glinting in his pocket. I came out here chasing ghosts. Found a symphony instead. He cupped Elias's face, thumb tracing a laugh line, and the kiss ignited slow, like embers stirred, lips tentative, then urgent, tasting of honey and history. Elias pulled back first, breath ragged. I'm old enough to be. My now, Riley finished, fierce. If you'll have it. They tumbled inside, the night unfolding in whispers and wonders, bodies mapping uncharted territories where age dissolved into affinity. Elias's touch was a bow on strings, precise, passionate, drawing from Riley notes he'd forgotten he could play. Dawn found them tangled in sheets, sunlight slanting through blinds like spotlights on a stage. Guilt crept in with the coffee, Elias rising first, robe-clad and pensive. This is a gift, but fragile. I've buried too many. Riley joined him at the kitchen table, hands entwined. Then we build slow, like Dad should have. They spent the day wandering the Willamette, Elias pointing out haunts, the bookstore where he'd first read Harlan's engineering journals, the bridge whose span mirrored their father's designs. Laughter came easy, laced with lust's afterglow, but reality's shadow loomed. Ethan's texts. How's Portland? Lauren's asking about family dinner. A reminder of the empire across the continent. That evening, as Elias prepared a risotto fragrant with thyme, Riley's phone rang. Ethan, voice edged with urgency. Bad news. Kensington found something in Dad's files. Codicil to the will. Complicated. Riley's stomach nodded, handing Elias the phone on speaker. Ethan explained, words tumbling. A hidden clause, triggered by the letter's revelation. Harlan had anticipated Riley's quest, stipulating that if Elias was contacted, the estate would split not just financially, but in spirit, a foundation for LGBTQ youth, funded equally by both twins, named Hayes Echoes. He wanted us to carry it forward, Ethan said, awe softening his tone. Together. Elias's eyes misted, risotto forgotten. That man, always engineering from the grave. Riley pulled him close, the call ending on promises of visits. But joy soured quick. Ethan added, Lauren's thrilled. But she's filing papers. Thinks I'm distracted by this. By us fixing what she calls your mess. Riley's jaw tightened. Our mess. Tell her that. Hanging up, he paced, the bungalow's warmth clashing with inner storm. Elias watched, wise. Families fracture, love. But twins? They're welded. The call spurred action. Riley extended his stay, diving into sketches for the foundation, programs for queer artists, scholarships echoing Elias's teaching. Days blurred into a haze of passion and purpose. Mornings in bed, Elias's fingers tracing Riley's spine like staff lines. Afternoons at the conservatory, Riley shadowing classes, his graphic eye capturing students' raw talent. Elias composed, a piece titled Duet Deferred. Its premiere whispered for fall, but undercurrents stirred. Elias's friends, a circle of silver-haired survivors, eyed Riley with protective curiosity at a garden potluck. He's young, one murmured to Elias, sage smoke curling. Harlan's echo, not yours. Elias defended gently. He's his own song, yet doubt seated, blooming in quiet moments. One night, after a particularly fervent lovemaking that left them breathless on the rug, Elias confessed, I fear I'm borrowing time. From you, from life. Riley held him, whispering, then let's make it count. News from New York escalated the drama. Ethan called again, voice hollow. Lauren left, packed while I was at the office. Said the foundation's a vanity project, dragging us down. Riley's heart ached for his brother, the straight twins' armor cracking. Come here, he urged. See for yourself. Ethan arrived 2 days later, train-weary, Lauren's absence a ghost in his eyes. Portland welcomed him with craft brews and waterfront walks. Elias playing host with Grace. A private concert in the bungalow. Box Chacon twisting grief to grace. Over dinner, Elias's cocoa vin, rich and redolent. Ethan opened up, the scotch loosening tongues. I envied you, always. The freedom to feel it all, no script. Riley blinked, stunned. You? Mr. Perfect. Laughter bridged the gap, but tears followed. Ethan admitting he'd questioned his own lines once. a college dalliance buried deep. Lauren sensed it, maybe. The stiffness. Elias nodded, pouring more wine. Straight, gay labels are just staffs. Music's the soul. The visit mended fractures. Ethan toured the conservatory, pledging foundation funds for a queer music wing. Riley and he rebuilt twin bonds over pickup basketball in a rainy park, mud-splattered and howling. But departure loomed, Ethan hugging Elias like kin. "Take care of my brother," he murmured. "He's all I have left of Dad." On the platform, as the train chugged south, Ethan clasped Riley's hand. "We're echoes now, good ones." Solitude with Elias intensified the romance, but storms brewed. A letter arrived from Kensington, Harlan's final secret. Elias was named beneficiary in a trust, modest but meaningful, for the love time stole. Elias wept reading it, Riley holding him through the night. "He redeemed us," Elias said, yet joy tangled with tension. Riley's sketches evolved into a full manuscript, bridges unbuilt, publisher interest buzzing from a village contact. "NYC calls." Riley admitted one dawn, tangled in sheets. Elias's smile faltered. "And if it pulls you away? Then we compose across miles." But fear not. Riley's youth a siren song to city lights, Elias's age a anchor to quiet shores. Climax crashed mid-fall. Ethan's frantic call during Elias's premiere. Lauren suing, for half the estate, claims emotional distress from the scandal. The word ignited fury. Riley flew east, leaving Elias with a kiss and a vow. "We'll fight clean." New York was a battlefield. Court dates, depositions, Lauren's lawyer painting Harlan a hypocrite. The twins divided. Ethan, hollow-eyed, met Riley at the brownstone. She knew about the codicil, used it as leverage. United, they countered, the foundation their shield. Testimonies from queer youth, Elias's video affidavit, a violin lament of love's endurance. Publicity swirled, Village Voice profiles dubbing them the Hayes Redemption. But personal toll mounted. Riley's nights alone in the study, sketching Elias's face through tears, the distance a dull ache. Reunion came at Thanksgiving, Ethan hosting a sparse table. Just the twins, no Lauren's ghost. "Divorce finalized," he announced, raising a glass. "Freedom tastes bitter." Riley shared premiere footage, Elias's bow ablaze. "Come west for Christmas," he urged. Ethan grinned. "Twins road trip? Count me in." Portland's winter wrapped them in frost-laced magic. Elias greeted at the station, violin case in tow, the trio piling into his old Volvo for the bungalow. Holiday lights twinkled as they decorated. A menorah beside a tree, Elias's Jewish roots blending faiths. Over lacs and lights, stories flowed. Ethan's first steps post-divorce, dating a barista with tattoos. Riley's book deal, bridges set for spring. But the eve brought revelation, Elias, pulling Riley aside. "I've been composing our story, but I need to know, is this forever, or a bridge season?" Riley knelt, watch in hand. "Forever's the risk. Marry the music with me." Elias's yes was a crescendo, tears and kisses sealing it. New Year's dawned with vows exchanged in a civil ceremony. Elias in tweed, Riley in leather, Ethan best man, toasting to echoes eternal. The foundation launched that spring, a beacon for hidden loves. Riley's book soared, pages of their truth. Ethan found love in a Portland potter, straight but soul deep. And Riley, gay twin no longer defined by loss, built with Elias a life of duets. Kisses in kitchens, violins at dawn. A letter's promise fulfilled in every note. Spring bloomed in Portland like a long-held breath released, cherry blossoms carpeting the bungalow's yard in pink confetti. Riley and Elias's wedding lingered in memory's glow. The justice of the piece's wry smile, Ethan's teary toast, the ring simple silver etched with bridge spans. At 28, Riley felt timeless, his graphic novel Bridges Unbuilt, hitting shelves with a splash, reviewers hailing its raw humanity in fractured families. But marriage's honeymoon haze parted to reveal undercurrents. Elias's arthritis flaring in his bowing hand, Riley's NYC publisher demanding promo tours that tugged at their duet. One such trip loomed. A book signing in San Francisco, then LA, 2 weeks of spotlights and strangers. "Go," Elias urged over breakfast, his fingers massaging the sore joint. "Your voice needs wings." Riley hesitated, kissing the knuckles. "Ours does." But duty called, and he boarded the flight with sketches in his carry-on, panels of their life for a sequel. The tour was a whirlwind. Packed readings in foggy city lights, panels on Queer Lit where Riley shared the letter's genesis, fans clutching copies with eyes wet. "Your story gave me courage," a young trans artist whispered in LA, and Riley hugged her, Elias's melody in his ear. Texts bridged miles, Elias's concert tonight, played our piece. Audience wept. Riley's, "Miss your strings on my skin." But distance amplified doubts. A late-night call from Ethan. Voice slurred. Saw Lauren at a gala. She's pregnant. Mine? Maybe. Messy. Riley's world tilted, the hotel room closing in. What? When? Ethan spilled. A reconciliation fling post-divorce. Lauren's bombshell amid custody threats on the foundation funds. She's demanding half the trust. Says it's for the kid. Fury and pity warred in Riley. Pity for the child. Fury for Ethan's spiral. Come clean with her. We're hazes, we build, not burn. Returning to Portland, Riley found Elias rehearsing with students, bowed defiant against pain. Over dinner, Elias's bouillabaisse, seafood symphony, they dissected the news. Ethan's straight twin armors cracking again, Riley sighed. Elias's eyes twinkled. Or evolving. Fatherhood's a new score. Their lovemaking that night was tender, urgent, bodies affirming what words couldn't. Commitment amid chaos. Ethan arrived unannounced a week later, duffel in hand, face haggard. Need a reset, he admitted, collapsing on the porch swing. Portland's rains welcomed him, washing sins as they hiked Forest Park, mud sucking at boots. Lauren's test confirmed it. Ethan confessed over trail mix. Boy, do summer. Riley clapped his shoulder. Uncle Ree's got your back. Foundation can help. Scholarships for queer parents too. Elias joined for evenings of board games and Bach. His presence a bomb. One night, fireside, Ethan broke. I dated a guy in college, then broke my heart when he transferred. Buried it for Lauren, for Dad's ghost. The admission hung, then lightened, Riley's hug fierce, Elias pouring brandy. Welcome to the chorus, brother. But Lauren's shadow lengthened. Legal papers arrived, her attorney citing moral turpitude from Harlan's secrets, demanding asset freezes. The foundation teetered, donors wavering. Riley and Ethan hunkered in the bungalow study, laptops glowing, countering with affidavits. Elias's testimony on love's endurance, queer advocates' letters. Fight for the kid, Riley urged. Show her hazes protect their own. Climax erupted at a foundation gala in Seattle. Black tie under chandeliers, violins, Elias guest conducting, hand braced, weaving through speeches. Lauren appeared uninvited, gown crimson, belly subtly rounding, flanked by lawyers. This charade ends, she hissed to Ethan, voice venom. Your family's poison. Gay ghosts and bastard trusts. The room hushed as she slapped papers down, but Riley stepped forward, microphone in hand. Poison? No. Legacy. He read from the letter, voice steady. Harlan's words on buried love, redemption's bridge. Gasps rippled, then applause. Elias's bow rising in solidarity. Ethan pulling Lauren aside, whispering truths. She crumbled, tears streaking makeup. I was scared. For us, the baby. Mediation followed. Swift. Shared custody. Foundation intact. Lauren's demands softened to co-parenting classes. Ethan exhaled. Free. You saved me, Ree. Again. Summer swelled with the child's arrival. A boy, named Harlan Elias Hayes. Tiny fists waving like conductors. Ethan relocated part-time to Portland. The brownstone leased. His Potter girlfriend Nora weaving clay cradles. Riley's sequel brewed. Duets deferred. Elias collaborating on illustrations. Ink and strings entwined. Yet autumn winds carried Elias's diagnosis. Early Parkinson's, the tremor in his hand no longer arthritis's whim. The bough slips. He admitted one leaf-strewn walk, voice cracking. Riley's world fractured, but he armored with love. Researching therapies. Adapting sketches to voice notes for Elias's compositions. We'll improvise, he vowed, kissing temple to temple. Ethan rallied, the foundation funding neuromusic programs. Nora's ceramics became adaptive tools. Holidays healed. Christmas with baby Harlan gurgling carols. New Year's vows renewed in a quiet ceremony. Riley and Elias exchanging etched rings. Adagio forever. Years folded like sheet music. The twins, now 35, stood unbreakable. Ethan a doting dad, Nora his anchor. Riley, gray at temples, publishing hits, Elias teaching till the end. His final piece a symphony premiered by their adopted son. A queer violin prodigy from the foundation. Harlan's letter, framed in the bungalow, watched over all. In the meaningful close, Riley traced Elias's fading hand. You changed everything. Elias smiled, eyes eternal. We did love, bridge by bridge. The diagnosis hung over Portland's golds and crimsons like a persistent fog, but Riley refused to let it eclipse their light. Elias, ever the composer, adapted with grace, composing via dictation. His voice a rich timbre guiding Riley's pen across scores. At 30, Riley's life had layered like a fugue. The graphic novel's now a series, Echoes Unbound. with film rights buzzing, the foundation thriving, chapters in Seattle and Buffalo, and home. The bungalow expanded with a sunroom studio where Elias directed young musicians, his tremor masked by sheer will. Ethan's visits became rituals, monthly flights with baby Harlan, now a toddler with hazel eyes and a penchant for banging pots like drums. Nora, earthy and unflappable, joined, her pottery while spinning in the garage during stays. Family's not blood, she'd say, glazing mugs etched with bridges. It's the kiln that fires it. Lauren had mellowed post-birth, co-parenting amicable, even volunteering at foundation events, her edge softened by motherhood's melody. One crisp October eve, as leaves skittered across the lawn, Riley found Elias in the garden, shears idle in his lap. The Parkinson's, it's advancing, he said quietly, no preamble. Riley knelt, soil-staining knees. We knew. Trials, therapies. Elias cupped his face. Not fighting, love. Accepting. Want you to promise. When the bough falls, you keep playing. Tears pricked, but Riley nodded, fierce. Duet forever. Winter deepened resolve. Riley's latest book tour, East Coast Swing, culminating in a Buffalo launch at their childhood library, pulled him away, but Elias insisted. Go sing our story. In the airport, their kiss lingered, Elias whispering, bring back snow. Riley did, returning with a snowball tucked in his pocket, melting it over Elias's eyes in laughter. The launch was cathartic. Old neighbors gasping at tales of Harlan's hidden heart, Ethan beaming from the front row, Harlan Jr., HJ now, a whirlwind of four, doodling violins on programs. Post-event, twins lingered in the brownstone. Ethan's pied a terra now, walls repainted in hopeful blues. Dad would be proud, Ethan said, clinking beers on the porch. Of the empire we built from ashes. Riley grinned. Not empire. Symphony. Spring heralded hope. A clinical trial in Seattle. Experimental meds halting Elias's tremor. Infusions weekly. Side effects a bitch, nausea, fatigue. But Elias's bow steadied, premiering tremor and triumph to standing ovations. Riley illustrated the program, panels of quivering strings resolving to harmony. Their intimacy evolved too, nights slower, exploratory. Elias's voice narrating desires as hands faltered. Riley's touch a responsive score. But drama stirred from unexpected quarters. A tabloid scoop, gay author's scandalous inheritance, twins' dirty secrets, splashed online, dredging Harlan's letter, twisting Elias into the other man. Trolls swarmed socials, foundation donors dipped. Ethan called, furious. Lauren leaked it. Payback for custody tweaks. She denied, but evidence mounted. Emails to a gossip rag. The storm peaked at a foundation fundraiser. Gala in NYC's Rainbow Room. Chandeliers dripping light. Riley keynote, voice steady. Secrets aren't scandals. They're seeds. But midway, Lauren burst in, HJ on hip, flanked by paparazzi. Lies, she shrieked. Your legacy ruined us. Chaos erupted, flashes popping, guests scattering. Ethan surged forward, scooping HJ, face thunder. Enough, Lauren. This ends tonight. Backstage, truths erupted. Her insecurity, the rag's payoff for exposing hypocrisy. Riley mediated, heart pounding. For the boy, join us or let go. Lauren wept, HJ fussing, and in the hush agreed therapy boundaries a united front for the child. Resolution came swift. Injunctions silenced the press, donors doubled down. Lauren stepped back, focusing on HJ, Ethan gaining primary custody with her visitation. Twin stick, he texted Riley. A photo of HJ waving a tiny pride flag. Summer solstice brought renewal. Elias's trial remission, bow fluid as youth. They honeymooned in the Adirondacks. Cabins and canoes, echoing childhood hikes. One lakeside night, under stars, Elias proposed a sequel. Adopting. Our bridge needs a span. Riley's yes was immediate, paperwork launching for a teen queer, foster flipped from the foundation. Fall's harvest moon saw Kai arrive. 16. Lanky with purple streaks and a guitar slung like armor. Wary at first, eyes scarred by rejections, but Elias's music melted him. Lessons in the sunroom. Riley's sketches capturing his shy smiles. Ethan visited. HJ bonding instant, cousins in chaos, building forts from sheet music. Thanksgiving swelled the table. Nora's pies, Lauren's tentative truce, Kai's vegan stuffing. Toasts rang. To Harlan's ghost, now guardian. But winter whispered peril, Elias's checkup, trial efficacy waning, progression slow but sure. Climax crested New Year's. Elias collapsed mid-waltz at a foundation ball, bow clattering. Hospital lights harsh. Diagnosis. Accelerated decline. Riley clung bedside. Ethan flying in. Kai wide-eyed. Play for me, Elias rasped, and they did. Riley humming their duet. Kai strumming guitar. Ethan humming off-key. Miracle small. Stabilized, home hospice planned. Spring unfurled fragile. Elias composed till fingers failed, dictating to Kai, who transcribed with reverence. Riley's final book, finale forged, chronicled it. Love's Adagio. Donors poured in. A neuro-wing named Moro Harmony. Elias slipped away midsummer. Under cherry trees. Riley holding hand. Kai violin weeping. Ethan whispering. Rest, old bridge. Grief tsunami. But grace followed. Memorial concert sold out. Elias's echo a hit. Twins consoled. HJ a light. Kai, now son, sketched with Riley. Years later, at 40, Riley stood with Ethan at the brownstone, sold, proceeds to foundation. Kai, 20-something artist, debuted his graphic score. Lauren, remarried, co-grandparent HJ, now a teen violinist. The letter, dusted, read anew, changed everything. From money to melody, straight to soul, twins to tribe. A legacy of love, unburied, eternal. Grief's veil lifted slow over Portland, summer's heat yielding to autumn's amber hush. Elias's absence echoed in the bungalow's corners, the sunroom silent without his voice, the garden overgrown with untended jasmine. At 31, Riley moved through days on autopilot. Mornings sketching Kai's profile, afternoons at the foundation, where Moro Harmony wing buzzed with young musicians, tremors tamed by adaptive tech. Kai, 17 now, became anchor, cooking experimental fusion, his purple hair a banner of resilience. Dad, Elias, he'd say keep composing. The boy murmured one evening, strumming guitar by the fire. Ethan's support was steadfast. Bicoastal flights with HJ. Now 6. A tornado of questions. Where's Uncle Elias's music? They'd play recordings. The toddler dancing, unknowing of loss. Nora wove memorial urns. Clay vessels for ashes scattered in Forest Park. Lauren, transformed by time, sent care packages. Books on grief. HJ's finger paintings of violins. We're family, messy as it is. Her note read. Winter solstice brought breakthrough. Kai's discovery in Elias's attic trunk. Unfinished scores. Letters from Harlan undiscovered. 1 to Riley. If I go first, tell Elias our love was the bridge's arch build on it. Tears flowed, but so did inspiration. Riley and Kai collaborated. Elias's Unfinished. A graphic opera, blending panels and parts, premiered at the conservatory. Touring it reignited Riley's fire. Seattle stages, NYC lofts, crowds weeping to the tale. Ethan joined for the village run, twins arm in arm, HJ stealing hearts backstage. Dad's proud, Ethan whispered post-curtain, eyes shining. Post-show, a fan approached, mid-20s, curly-haired baritone named Theo, voice like aged oak. Your work, saved me, came out last year thanks to echoes. Sparks flickered, innocent, coffee invites, lingering chats, but guilt nipped. Too soon? Spring thawed reservations. Theo, a foundation fellow, moved in layers. Dinners with Kai's vetting, hikes where laughter echoed Elias's. He's not replacement, Kai assured, hugging Riley. He's harmony. Romance bloomed tentative. Kisses under cherry trees, Theo's songs filling the sunroom. Ethan approved over video. Straight twin says go. Life's adagio, not dirge. But drama simmered. Lauren's ex-husband, HJ's stepdad, sued for visitation rights, dredging old custody wars. Wants to protect him from our lifestyle. Ethan fumed, flying west for war counsel. The bungalow became bunker. Lawyers via Zoom, Kai rallying with protest art, Theo's ballads bolstering. Climax in court. Ex's homophobic rants backfired. Judge awarding Ethan full, Lauren as ally. For the kids, she texted, relief palpable. Summer healed. Family campout in the Cascades. HJ and Kai teaching each other chords. Theo harmonizing fireside tales. Riley proposed under stars. Simple band. Engraved, new verse. Theo's yes was a crescendo. Fall's harvest yielded fruit. Unfinished won awards, funding scholarships. Kai 18 headed to Juilliard, violin in tow Elias's. Rest rung. Bridge the coasts. Riley toasted at send-off, tears proud. Winter whispered legacy. Theo and Riley adopting a sibling set. Twin girls, 5, queer-curious sparks. Ethan relocated fully. Nora's studio adjoining the bungalow. HJ, 10, mentored the girls in clay. Years cascaded. At 42, Riley's series spanned shelves, Theo's opera stages. Kai composed soundtracks. Ethan chaired the foundation. Lauren a bored auntie. HJ, 15, came out. Bisexual, bow in hand. Twins enveloping him. Welcome to the score. The letter, enshrined, read. Changed everything. From division to duet, lost to love's endless refrain. In the gay twins' hands, it wasn't end, but eternal beginning. Wait, recalibrating for full 1000, expanding epilogue. Decades wove their tapestry, threads of joy and quiet sorrow. Riley, at 50, gray-streaked and grounded, watched Theo conduct echoes eternal from the wings. The Opera House in Portland a monument to their shared verse. The twins' girls, now teens, Lila and Sage, fiddled in the pit, bows synced like heartbeats. Kai, back from tours, led the youth ensemble. His compositions a bridge to Elias's ghost. Ethan, silver at temples, walked HJ, 20 now, a queer activist lawyer. Down the aisle at his wedding, Nora beaming beside. Lauren, softened by time, toasting with the family. Her own second marriage, a quiet harmony. One autumn eve, Riley revisited the brownstone. Sold but soul intact, now a foundation retreat. In the study, he traced Dad's desk, letter in lap. You started this, he whispered. Changed everything. Money to meaning, straight to spectrum, death to defiant life. The gay twin, once gifted scraps, claimed the symphony. Love's layered, bridges boundless. A finale forever unfinished, beautifully so.